Okay. What up? You sure look good, yo. Yeah, we're live. Nice. All right, what up? What up, everybody? Welcome, everyone, to the 32nd episode of Some Casual Takes, a podcast hosted by me, Stephen Pepper, featuring other sports fans debating interesting topics with the most casual takes. This episode is brought to you by no one, unfortunately. Love a sponsorship, though. Jokes. I ain't begging. Solo pod today. You see, there's no other people on this panel. We're solo, dolo today. It's an emergency pod. I fired it up. I didn't want to, a lot of NBA games happened last night. And, my schedule with exams and stuff is a little hectic. So I didn't know when I was going to fire up the show. And I didn't even know if I was going to go today. And, I just didn't want to ask a lot of people to come in at like 3 o'clock or whatever. I didn't know what time I was going to do this, but this is an emergency pod because I said, I kind of want to do it today, but I knew at the end of last show, I said, I'm having a show on Friday. You know where to find me. Emergency pod. This is in place for Friday's show. Unless something crazy happens in the NFL draft, this is the show. This is the second show of the week, not the Friday show. So we moved up a day because so many great games last night NBA actions. I really wish I would have said I would have had a show today in the last episode because I did point out that on Tuesday's show that a lot of NBA games was going to happen on that Wednesday night, and it did. A lot of games happened. Celtics, they play tonight. Celtics are the only game tonight, so this is the first time since the NBA playoffs started like almost 2 weeks ago now, where only one game is happening today, and it's Celtics in ATL for Game 6. I'm surprised this even went to 6. I had Celtics and Heat in my playoff predictions at the 2 versus 7, but Atlanta beat Heat to go be the 7th seed. Now, originally, I had Heat in about 5 or 6. Now, if I would have known that Atlanta Hawks were going to play the Celtics, I would have had Celtics in 5. Well, now it's Celtics in Atlanta and it's going to 6. I didn't see this coming. I got Celtics win tonight in Atlanta. If this goes 7, I'm hoping for a 7. I'm not also because I have the Celtics win the whole thing, but just for a guy who loves parity in the league, I'm kind of hoping it goes 7 as well. Because I'm trying to put more respect on Trae Young. I'm starting to like Trae Young more. I was all out on Trae Young last season when he got completely bullied by the Heat. But I'm back on the Trae Young train, low key. So I want to see Trae Young do it. I always like to rep the light skinned basketball players, other than Dylan Brooks. But Jason Tatum, I have him win the championship. So who knows? Cleveland was the first game. We're going to knock this one out real quick because I don't have a lot to say for it, other than I'm just really disappointed in what happened with Cleveland. This is a team that I had winning this in 5 games, maybe 6, depending on how competitive Julius Randle was going to be. And Julius Randle was a non-factor the entire series, and the Cavs lost in 5. So I had the Cavs winning in 5. They lost in 5. I said in my playoff predictions that I had the Cavs as a whole tier above the Knicks. I thought the number 1 defense and a top 10 offense. I was looking at all the advanced analytics, all the simple rating systems, all you can do. The Cavaliers were like top 5, top 6 in all these team ratings. They look like a very competitive team, a team that I thought could push Milwaukee to 6 games in the second round. We're going to get to Milwaukee later. I'm disappointed in that. But I thought the Cavs are going to be a team that could push Milwaukee to 6 games, and the Cavs disappointed me. Man, I'm sick of Cleveland. I know a lot of people in the Cavs organization. I'm a Cavs fan. Not so much right now because Team LeBron. But, I got a lot of love for Cavs, man. I always wear my Cavs gear. Just so disappointed in them. I'm disappointed. In Garland, Garland had he had one great game where he had about 30, but he had 2 bad games, specifically game 4 where Darius Garland in Cleveland goes like 4 for 21. I've never seen an all-star level player shoot that bad in a single game ever in my life. I don't think I can remember one. I might be blanking, but 4 for 21, you can't get that out of your guy who's giving you 20 and 10 a game. Playoff Donovan Mitchell was nowhere to be found. I thought this was a guy who was really going to elevate. He's a New York boy. He's from New York. I thought he was going to elevate in Square Garden, take the Knicks, a guy who grew up a Knicks fan. I thought he was going to take it to the Knicks. I really did. I thought playoff Mitchell, the guy who we saw go for 50 in a bubble. But I'm noticing now this season and last season against Dallas, playoff Mitchell no longer exist. I think he's only averaging about 24 points a game now in the playoffs. I think I saw someone now in those last 2 seasons. from when it was like 30 a game from 2020 to 2021. The playoff Mitchell isn't there. It's kind of funny now how Donovan Mitchell's season has ended to Jalen Brunson in back-to-back years. Remember, without Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson actually won, I think, like 2 games for the Mavericks against the Jazz last season in the playoffs, and now Donovan Mitchell loses to Jalen Brunson, who had a great series. The concerns for the Cavs were clear. No bench at all. I knew they were going to have any bench production. I just thought, Mitchell was going to be that. Mitchell still had 28 points. That's not bad, but the efficiency was terrible. Game 4 in Square Garden was terrible for Donovan Mitchell. Karis LeVert got inserted in the starting lineup. I didn't really like that. I know they really wanted more scoring out of their starting since Garland wasn't picking it up. But I would have preferred him coming off the bench because the bench needed scoring punch. The bench really needed a scoring punch. LeVert would have been better off the bench. Defensively, I kind of would rather have Okoro up there. Okoro still gave you 10 points in Game 5, so he was pretty good offensively. I would have liked him, bigger staff. I didn't really like the adjustments he made. I get why he did it, though, because of the lacking offense. So the bench gave pretty much nothing. Okoro tried, but other than that, Osman, 2 for 5. Danny Green's old. Rookie Rubio, inconsistent. He's in and out of the rotation. Lamar Stevens isn't really an offensive threat. Another concern I didn't address in this video, but I knew I had about Evan Mobley and Jared Allen is the no shot creation. And again, we just got no shot creation from Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Going forward, hopefully the Cavs can get a wing to get some shot creation out of that front court on a consistent basis. Mobley was disappointing, man. I'm disappointed what I get from Evan Mobley. Allen and Mobley, defensively, you know what you're going to get, but we don't ask those guys just to play defense. We ask these guys to get double figures. Mobley still has yet to take that offensive step I expected him to take this season. He showed flashes, I think, in like January. He scored like 36 points against the Bucks. He had a nice little stretch where he was scoring 30 to 20 points. But, man, 6 points, 2 for 6. He looks clearly limited on that offensive end. You're not going to get any shot creation out of Jared Allen. So if no one's dunking the ball down Allen, he's not going to get anything. I'm just disappointed in the Cavs. Now, the Knicks go on to play Miami in the second round. That's going to be a low-scoring series. I can't wait to watch that. I think it's going to be interesting, but it gives me like this late 1990s vibe to it. I think the Knicks, and he did play in a Heat playoff. I don't know, Knicks playoff run in the late night. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I know I'm casual, but this is going to be a low-scoring series because already the Knicks are low-scoring in this Cavs series. The Heat outside Jimmy Butler are going to blow you away offensively. So this is going to be a low-scoring, a lot of missed shots in this series. Speaking of the Heat, though, they have a Cavs player. I know this is in hindsight. I think a lot of people thought this was an okay move at first, but now in hindsight, it's looking bad. He's now on the Heat that did advance, going to go play the Knicks, team that the Cavs lost to. The Cavs waived this guy, Kevin Love. In hindsight, it looks like this trade started the end of the Cavs season because the Cavs already had no bench. And I know Kevin Love looked like he was regressing to start the season this year, and that's why Cleveland was like, hey, let's just get rid of this guy. He's old. He's regressing. He's washed. Now he's playing significant starter minutes for Miami, hitting key threes, taking key charges, manning up on Giannis Antetokounmpo in the biggest stages, and he's winning games. Key contributor to this Heat team. This is a guy who could have came off the bench, bodied up Julius Randle, grabbed some rebounds, hit a couple shots that the Cavs desperately needed in the series where they weren't hitting any shots. Could have had it from Kevin Love. They waived him. That was a domino to end the season. A domino that the Knicks didn't remove but added that ended up, I think, helping them advance in the series. I don't know if they would have particularly advanced. If not, would have won in a tight 7 if they didn't have him, is Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart, go through the top 5 in draft. I will soon. Check my TikTok, though. I dropped my top 10, but I will soon. Josh Hart was a key addition to this team. This guy who completely just destroyed the Cavs bench and got inserted in the starting lineup when Grimes went down. Josh Hart, his toughness, his dirty work, his consistent scoring and rebounding and hustling, I think he was the X factor to this Knicks series. So we see these two teams, Cavs cut a player off the bench, Knicks add a player off the bench, and I think it was a huge swing in these two teams' play that I completely missed throughout when making my prediction. But I'll go through my top 10 in the draft really quick. It's on my TikTok, but my top 10 in the draft. We did a whole draft show on Tuesday, but I'll go through it again because I think I was planning on, because I did refine it and tweak it from when I said on the show. So number one, I got Carolina taking Bryce Young. He's the safest, most NFL-ready quarterback. Number two, I got Houston. I don't have him tripping. A lot of people have him taking Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson. I got him taking Stroud, especially what they can do with 12. Half your problems in this league can get solved by having a quarterback, and Houston has a lot of problems. Knock a lot of them out with Stroud. 3, Cardinals have a terrible defense. They bring in a defensive head coach as step A. Step B is to give that defensive head coach a generational talent for him to build around on that unit. They take the safe pick defensively for Will Anderson. 4, a lot of people like Anthony Richardson to go to the Colts. I'm a Colts fan. We're in Indianapolis today on draft day. I want him to take Levis. I don't think the Colts – obviously the Colts got to take a quarterback. Since Andrew Luck, they've tried and tried again with these veteran quarterbacks, Brissett, Rivers, Wentz, Ryan, veteran quarterbacks to fill the void. It's not working. They need to go young franchise QB to build around. Ellinger isn't that guy, so they need to draft a high one. And they need a quarterback here. I just don't think the Colts are in a position to take a project like Richardson. They should take a more NFL-ready guy like a Levis. At 5, Seattle, a lot of people like Richardson there, but I would rather Seattle take defense, rebuild that Seattle defensive identity that made them so successful. Just make the team better around Geno Smith. And if Geno Smith doesn't pan out, because they got they got probably 2 more years on Geno Smith's contract. Just wait till another year before you think quarterback. It wouldn't be bad to take a quarterback, but I think this team could be even better if they take a generation defensive talent. Seattle, their identity throughout their successes in the 2010s was defense. Legion of Boom. They have guys great on the front 7 too. They can start that up again by getting a franchise defensive guy. I'm taking Tyree Wilson at Texas Tech. At 6 is Detroit, that pick from the Rams and the Stafford trade. Detroit, offensively, they're great. Now, defensively, they're not, and that was the knock, and that's why they didn't go to the playoffs last year, even though they had one of the best offenses in the league. Their secondary is horrible. They're giving about 248 yards, 245 yards a game through the air. That's terrible. They need a corner, take the best corner available in Christian Gonzalez. Now, the Raiders are in the same position too. They have a terrible secondary. But it's even worse for them because they're in a division with Mahomes, Wilson, Herbert. These are guys who are throwing 50 times a game, right? So you're in a division with 3 Pro Bowl quarterbacks, 3 future Hall of Fame, if you want to say Herbert's a future 3 future Hall of Fame level quarterbacks, right? So you need to lock down that division with a star level quarterback. And Devin Witherspoon's the second best corner here. He was putting up some Sauce Gardner numbers in college. Take Devin Witherspoon. Raiders. Some people say take O-line for Jimmy Garoppolo or take quarterback. Think about the future. No, I think you need a corner to lock that division. You have a chance to take a guy who's putting up Sauce Gardner numbers and you're in that division for years to come. That is Wilson, Holmes, Herbert. Yeah, no. Take a corner. And then at 8 is Atlanta. Atlanta has a lot of problems, especially defensively. Now, Jalen Carter has off-the-field problems, and he's going to fall. Arguably, he's the best player in this draft, at least for defense. And he's going to fall because of his off-the-field issues. So he's there at 8, and I think Atlanta has a lot of problems on defense. They got to take that best player available. If you have the position to take the best player in the draft at 8, you take him. And he's going to help solve a lot of their run problems. They gave up a lot of points. They barely got any sacks. They allowed a lot of yards on the ground. Carter can be there to stuff up that interior. Then at 9 is Chicago. Chicago can go defense. I've seen people take defense, but I say take Paris Johnson. They're going to go O-line because, they got DJ Moore in that trade down from 1 to 9. So now Fields is DJ Moore, but Fields doesn't have an offensive line. They're trying to build it, but they can solidify it. Listen, they have a guy who they think is their franchise quarterback, but they haven't yet to see his full potential. And one of the reasons why is because he has no time to throw. So give him time to throw. You could either take Skoronski or Paris Johnson. I'm taking Paris Johnson out of Ohio State because I think Fields will vouch for Johnson more. Because if you knew, Paris Johnson, he blocked for Justin Fields in the national championship game against Alabama. I think Fields would vouch for him, feel more comfortable with a national championship guy, with the Ohio State Buckeye guy next to him. And then at 10, Philly's at an interesting spot because Philly, they were in the Super Bowl last year. And out of all the teams in the NFL, they probably have the best roster, top to bottom, most complete roster. So if you're drafting at 10, but you have the most complete roster, you should just draft best player available. And I think the best player available at 10 would be Peter Skoronski, that offensive lineman from Northwestern. Skoronski, I don't think he would play all 17 games in the first season because Philly does have a good offensive line. but that offensive line is aging. And Jalen Hurts, his contract's locked up for the near future, I think for 5 more years. And in that latter half of Hurts' contract, that offensive line is going to start getting cut, getting old, aging, retiring. So you have Skoronski during that latter half of the contract, a great offensive tackle to block for Hurts during that end of his contract. You take him at 10. That is my mock draft for you. First 10. 11, I'd take Anthony Richardson if you're wondering where he'd go. I think Tennessee, with Ryan Tannehill being 35 in, I think, August, they need quarterback playing ASAP because Tannehill is going to regress soon. He's already regressing. He's going to regress next season even more. And at 12, I got Houston taking Smith and Jigba. Jets, I haven't taken O-line at 13. So nothing changed. After 11, nothing changed from the show. So if you want to look back and see from – because I also did through 16 on the show. But today we're just going to talk about the 3 huge games outside the Celtics and Knicks from last night's NBA schedule. And let's start off with the Lakers and Grizzlies. Listen, I'm fine. I know the series is 3-2 now. I'm fine. I'm fine with the Lakers. I'm not concerned that they are going to lose this series. I'm not concerned. I think they're going to close it out tomorrow in Los Angeles. I think they are. Listen, the Grizzlies were favored to win that game anyways. They were like the 4.5-point favorites to win that in Memphis. So I'm not tweaking about that. Now the Lakers, I think, the 4.5-point favorites to win in LA. I'm not tweaking at all. I think the Lakers are fine. Listen, I've seen this throughout the NBA history a lot. Teams are desperate. Sometimes these great teams, when you have a team like Memphis, a great team that's down 3-0, 3-1, they're going to come out in that game 5 and that game 4, firing on all cylinders, desperate, especially they're at home. Memphis was just desperate. They're a desperate team down 3-1 at home. They have yet to play Memphis basketball consistently throughout the series. They were able to do it in game 5. They were desperate. They came out firing early. They started out running in transition from the get-go. They wanted that game bad. They didn't want to lose 4-1. You could tell by how fast they were playing. All the rotation players from outside of Brooks, they were in the positive plus-minus. Memphis just played Memphis basketball. They played a little bit of it in game 1. They played a lot of it in game 2. But from consistent start to finish, I think that was their best. That was the Memphis Grizzlies team. That was the second seed last night. I think the Lakers are fine. They're going to close it out tomorrow at home. LeBron was bad. That's there's some concerns from this, some negatives from this game that I'm not really concerned about for the Lakers overall because, LeBron was bad. LeBron's not going to be bad in game 6. This was one of the worst games. I'm a huge LeBron fan. I'm a guy who would consider LeBron sexual. This is one of the worst games I've seen LeBron ever play. Ever in my life. LeBron was bad. And I think in the first half, if I remember, he had 5 turnovers and then 6 points. LeBron was bad. And Lakers lost by 17. LeBron had 15. Well, I mean, the game's different. But if LeBron would have applied more pressure, offensively, this game would have been different. The Lakers maybe would have won that game. I mean, Anthony Davis had a monster game. Anthony Davis, we said Anthony Davis on the last show. Anthony Davis was bad in game 4. So he's going to come out, despite the win, he was bad. So he's going to come out in game 5 and bounce back because he was bad in game 2. And then he came out, bounced back in game 3 with 30. I think he had 31 too, just like in game 5. Anthony Davis bounced back, had 31-19. This is an Anthony Davis game. He was +6 despite the team losing by 17. Yeah, so, LeBron was bad. One of the worst games I've ever seen him play. That first half was especially brutal. We needed LeBron to be great alongside AD. I'm still waiting for a LeBron great game and an Anthony Davis great game, kind of like those two going for 25 plus or 30 plus, the two combining for 60 or 70, like we saw in the bubble. I'm waiting for it. I don't know if we're going to get it, but we kind of needed it though, because Ja and Desmond Bane, that duo went off. That duo was desperate. Ja and Bane combined for 60. They both went off for 30. LeBron was bad. LeBron really needs to stop shooting, man. I'm seeing a lot of regression from LeBron that I don't know a lot of people are ready to admit. I know he's 38. People say, oh, he's 38, bro. You're 20. Yeah, but let's admit he's regressing. When he drives, he's not as explosive on a consistent basis on driving the basket. He's a little more reluctant to drive the basket. I don't know if that's because Tillman and Brooks are doing a good job defending him, taking away his lanes, not giving him much space. But he isn't driving as fast as he used to on a consistent basis. He's getting blocked and challenged at the rim more than I've ever seen him before. And he's shooting really bad. This man needs to stop shooting. His jump shot at one point was actually pretty decent. I think he tried so hard to get his jump shot decent. At one point in his career, his jump shot was pretty decent. He got up to some high, like almost like 40% from three. Excuse me, still a little sick here. But now it's terrible. Now it's terrible. 16% throughout the series. LeBron has so many games where he's 1 for 8, 1 for 9, 1 for 7. I think there was only one game, I think it was game 2, where LeBron was 3 for 8. I think that was the only game this series where LeBron hit multiple threes. I can't be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that was the only game. Just not really good shooting for LeBron. LeBron thinks he's a shooter. Now, I don't think LeBron is really of a jump shot anymore. I would prefer him to stop shooting. That's it. It's really hurting the team when LeBron James has come down the court, wasting possessions, and throwing up threes. I know the FU threes was a fire shot, but I don't think this is 2020 anymore. I don't think that FU is hitting anymore. I really don't. Those like low key, like those half court logo shots that LeBron James was hitting back in, I think he was still hitting those in like 2020. He's not hitting those anymore. It's bad. And it's hurting the team because they're coming down the court. LeBron James is taking contested threes, digging Steph Curry. 17 for 16, that's not good. But even after all that, though, the Lakers were an Austin Reeves shot away from taking the lead in the third. Even after all that, they were still an Austin Reeves Austin Reeves close shot away from taking the lead in the third. You know, they were down 21 points. I do love this fight in this team, by the way. They were down 20 at one point. They climbed all the way back and were this close to taking the lead. That would have shifted the entire momentum. But Austin Reeves missed. Memphis goes the other way. And the game got out of hand again, and it was over. Yeah, but again, I'm not concerned that they will lose this series. I am concerned, though. I'm concerned about one thing. It's not that they will lose this series. No, I think they're going to win tomorrow. But if I am concerned about one thing, it's something that I think will travel throughout series through series, and I touched on it with LeBron, but it's the Lakers shooting. I already touched on LeBron. I already said, he can't shoot. He's shooting 60% from three this series. And I think throughout the season, he was shooting barely 30% from three. But this team overall, the shooters, and like a Troy Brown, a Malik Beasley, Austin Reeves, all these guys who were capable of hitting shots aren't hitting shots. Lakers aren't hitting shots. Well, I think already the Lakers going into the playoffs without a real shooter. I think our only real shooter was Malik Beasley and hit him shots. And anyone else who can at least decently shoot is not decently shooting. The Lakers are barely shooting 30 from three. That stuff translates. LeBron having a bad game isn't translate. Anthony Davis having one bad, that's not going to translate. They're going to be great. LeBron, he's got his bad game behind him. That's not translate. What's going to translate, though, is his 30% from three. I can see them doing that throughout the next series. I can see them doing that because they probably will. And the only reason why the Lakers are even up 3-2 in this series, despite their shooting, is the Grizzlies aren't shooting much better. They're shooting 31%. Dillon Brooks is out here going 2 for 9 from three every game. Really, the only reason why the Lakers are even up in this series is because the Grizzlies are shooting horrible. And in the future, I got the Lakers losing. I got the Lakers losing the West Finals. So that means I got to win the second round. I got to beat Golden State in 7. I might have to take that pick back if the Lakers are going to keep shooting threes like this. Because you can't shoot this bad against a team like a Golden State or Phoenix. Golden State's over here with Curry and Clay efficiently shooting 35-footers. Jordan Poole, he can hit a couple shots. Andrew Wiggins is back hitting a couple corner threes. Draymond Green is giving you 20 points. DiVincenzo can pop. This team's shooting. Golden State can shoot. Phoenix, Kevin Durant, one of the most efficient shooters ever. Devin Booker can go off for threes. You know what I'm saying? Chris Paul, he can shoot. These teams can shoot on a more consistent and efficient basis than Los Angeles. And I'm watching the Lakers just clank, clank, clank from downtown. I just don't think now, if this really translates, if my concern is true and this translates to the next series, Yeah, the Lakers aren't getting out the second round. They're not beating Golden State. But I can't wait for that series, though, man. I still have them beating Golden State in 7, but I could easily walk by my pick. I got to see how they play game 1, but they got to win tonight. They got to win tomorrow night, though. They got to win tomorrow night. They're going to play Golden State, though. I'm going to talk about that later. They will play Golden State because Golden State's going to beat Sacramento. I'm going to get more into that later. But first, I want to address Darvin Ham before I get off the Lakers. Because, I've been picking on Darvin Ham since day one. If you've been watching this podcast since back in the day, a.k.a. since like December, I've been calling out Darvin Ham since the jump. I've been against Darvin Ham since the jump. And my message to Darvin Ham and the Lakers is, I want Darvin Ham fired effective immediately following this postseason. The concerns I've had with Ham have not changed despite a roster retooling for him at the deadline. If you watched my TikTok in December I had a little segment about Darvin Ham in a pod. I said, Darvin Ham's out here running 3-guard starting lineups. This is not good. He's running starting lineups like Schroeder, Reeves, Pat Bev. Whoa, this is not a good starting lineup. He's running 3-guard starting lineups. We look really small in the court. We're getting destroyed. It's really bad for our defense. And yet again, Darvin Ham's out here putting out 3-guard starting lineups. Not starting lineups, it's 3-guard line. Nothing changed. Rotationally, nothing has changed with Darvin Ham, despite because the excuse a lot of people saw my if you go to my TikTok in the comments, excuse that a lot of people had for Darvin Ham was on my take about his rotations and his rotations he's putting out was that he doesn't have the roster to put the lineups that I want to go bigger. And I was like, okay, it's fair. Skylar Anderson was hurt during that time, and he was really the only Lakers wing outside like LeBron. And at the time, I don't think he was playing Troy Brown like that. And I was like, okay. But now the whole roster got retooled. We got taller. We got wings. We got big men. Nothing's changed. Even without Adams and Clark, the Grizzlies are feasting down low with offensive rebound after offensive rebound and second chance bucket after second chance bucket. Why? I know the league is transitioning to small ball, but Darvin Ham, I guess, thinks the league is now extra small, and he's running 3-guard lineups and starting Rui at the 5. Rui Hachimura is not a 5. He cannot guard, take Jaren Jackson to the chest, and grab the rebounds over him. He can't. He can't. We need a 5. Why do you keep playing Wenyen Gabriel 20 minutes? We need a 5. Actually, we don't need a 5. We had a 5 sitting on the bench, and you do not play him. You got Mr. I got hose on the bench, and you don't play him. Why is Mo Bamba not playing? I'm convinced Ham is being blackmailed by Troy Brown Jr. and Malik Beasley because there is no way these two should be getting this much significant playing time. These shooters aren't making shots. Malik Beasley last night, 1 for 5 in 9 minutes, putting up bricks. The man was actually a pretty good shooter. Comes to the team, he's putting up bricks. Makes no sense. I think he was, 37% in Utah? And now I need to see Malik Beasley's Lakers. Let me pull up Malik Beasley Laker numbers. Sorry, I came unprepared, boys. What is Malik Beasley putting in Los Angeles, man? I can't tell. Oh, but it's dropping. Look at the series. 33%. 33%. Postseason, he's shooting 26.7. 26.7. 26.7. Malik Beasley. Troy Brown. Look what Troy Brown's doing, bro. Troy Brown 0 for 2. 12 minutes. Look at Troy Brown's series. This is not good for this man. Troy Brown Jr., 33%, 10% from 3. Oh, my God. Troy Brown Jr. is a 38% regular season shooter. He's out here shooting 10% from 3 in the series. And half the time, he's not even shooting. Bro, what is Troy Brown even doing? That boy must have some great stamina because all he's doing is putting up some cardio because he ain't putting up good shots. And Lonnie Walker must have done something wrong behind the scenes and is getting punished through DMPs because there's no way Ham isn't playing Lonnie Walker because he thinks it's best for the team. Lonnie Walker is a guy. This is coaching malpractice because Lonnie Walker's a guy who I know can guarantee the Lakers just a couple buckets a game. That's more than Malik Beasley and Troy Brown, bro. That's more than that. And he ain't playing. Why? I don't know. Ask Darvin Ham. No need to ask him. We're going to fire him at the end of the season because that's what we're supposed to do moving forward. Let's not ask Darvin Ham. Let's ask him while we hand him that fired paper. When we terminate his contract, when we hand him a shredded up contract, let's ask, you know what? Screw it, bro. Ask Darvin Ham. Yeah, let's ask Darvin Ham when we show him his shredded contract because he should be fired. Yeah. Regular season, Lonnie Walker, bro, he's giving you 12 points. 36. Lonnie Walker's shooting 36.5% from 3 in the regular season. You can't insert him in the lineup, bro. What the? Giving you 12 points. He's not in the lineup. Terminate Darvin Ham's contract, bro. I'm done. Bro. You said Warriors ain't contenders looking real cute. Nah, bro. Yeah, I know. Let me look at some comments before I move forward. Stroud of the Colts. Bro, listen, I actually see a world where Stroud comes to the Colts because Houston could mess around and take Will Anderson at 2. That would be my ideal world. Now, as an objective, and now if I was a Houston executive, GM, I'm taking Stroud at 2. Because like I said, quarterbacks, half your problems get solved by having a quarterback. Now, Houston, I think, wants to play for a quarterback next year, which I don't know why, because you could take it. Because Stroud is basically a number 1 quarterback in every other draft but this one. And you're not going to take him because I guess they're going to play for Caleb Williams next year. They do have those 2 picks, but imagine Stroud and Smith and Jigma on the same team. But if Will Anderson does go to the Texans, that means the Colts are going to take Stroud. Unless they still take like Levis or Richardson, I'm going to be mad. Yeah, I don't know. Jahmyr Gibbs is Cincy low, dude. Jahmyr Gibbs is nice. Now, it depends. Yeah, they're going to take Jahmyr Gibbs. Unless you think I actually didn't look at my mock draft for Cincy. Unless you think Cincy is going to go secondary. Unless you think Cincy's going secondary or offensive line. Unless you think like Cincy's going secondary or offensive line. Jahmyr Gibbs will be nice to Cincy. I think he could easily come in and replace Joe Mixon. I think he can. If Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't go to Cincy, though, and they pass on him, the Philadelphia Eagles should definitely Bengals will take best player available. We did lose Jesse Bates, so you might take a safety. If that Alabama safety falls, what is it? Is that Brian Branch? I forgot his name, sorry. If he falls to Cincy, I think Cincy might take him because you did lose Jesse Bates to Atlanta. You might be looking to get a safety. I might go secondary if I'm Cincinnati. But Jahmyr Gibbs would be nice. Jahmyr Gibbs would also be nice at Philadelphia. A lot of people at Philadelphia taking Bijan Robinson. I did originally when I did my initial mock draft, but if they can get Gibbs at the end of the first round, Philly would be super nice. Philly could easily run it back. I thought their Super Bowl window could start closing soon, but if they play this draft right with their picks, it's right. My prediction is Emmanuel Forbes, DB. Yeah, I think they'll take a DB most likely. I think they'll take a DB. But let's talk Heat. Jimmy Butler. So the Heat won against the Bucks. Clap it up, man. Jimmy Butler. All flowers to Jimmy Butler, man. All flowers to Jimmy, man. Got to give that man his flowers, bro. I got so much love for Jimmy Butler, man. I've had love for Jimmy Butler since day one because I always thought he was a nice player in Chicago. He came over to Philly and thought he was a nice player in Philly. Always loved Jimmy Butler's game, man. His intensity in the locker room in Minnesota. He came over to Miami. I actually picked Miami to win the East in 2020. Jimmy Butler came to Miami. I think it was one of my greatest predictions of all time. I had the Heat Lakers in the finals at the start of that 1920 season. The Heat ended up at the 5th seed. Everyone had Boston and Milwaukee. I had Heat or Toronto. Some people, like 2% of people had Toronto. I had Heat, Lakers in the finals that year. It's one of my greatest predictions ever, and it was because of Jimmy Butler. And I have a lot of love for Jimmy Butler. I even predict Jimmy Butler to win the next year in 2021 to beat Milwaukee. And we don't talk about the series. Jimmy Butler was horrible, and we only praise Jimmy Butler here. But Jimmy Butler, man, flowers to Jimmy Butler. You see the title. Jimmy Butler's top 10 league. Let's talk about it, man. Let me blow my nose real quick, stream. Sorry, I'm still sick. And I wasn't going to move forward. We don't have commercial breaks. This isn't TV. I don't have no commercial break to get water or, to blow my nose off the mic. There's no commercial breaks. So we got to do this straight up. I would love to have some commercial breaks. We had some ads up in here. I would love to run some ads. If I had some ads, if I had a little advertisement, someone wants to hit my email, StephenPepper38@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? Throw me a little advertisement video. I'll play it on stream to give me a nice little commercial break. But back to it. You see the title. Jimmy Butler is easily top 10 player in NBA. I get the regular season stuff. It's not fantastic and eye-catching. But what do you play the game for? To win championships. A 40 ball in the playoffs is more valuable than a 40 ball that y'all seem to value more on a random Tuesday in January. I value more the guy who's elevating his game so much so every time that gives his team chances to make deep playoff runs. No one in the NBA is doing more with less than Jimmy Butler. Excuse me, Jimmy Butler. This is a guy who has a 5 seed, beat a 2-time champ. This is a guy who has a 5 seed, beat 2 championship favorites, 1 in MVP Giannis, and 2 in Boston's Jason Tatum, on his way to the finals, where without his second best player and his third best in Bam and Dragic for a couple games, he still took a peak duo of Braun and AD to 6 games by dropping 40-point triple-doubles. This is the same guy who in 2022 took the Celtics to 7 games and was a shot away from going back to the NBA Finals despite inconsistencies, Bam, and injuries to 6-man, 20-point per game Tyler Hero. 6-man of the year, 20-point per game Tyler Hero. By playing like LeBron James. And now he, Butler, without Hero and Oladipo and inconsistencies from Bam, just gentleman swept a team that a lot of people had winning it all, that features the consensus best player in the world, 3 all-league defenders. Bucks have home court. Bucks have championship DNA. And the number 1 record in the entire association, Butler gentleman swept them by averaging 37.6 points a game on 60, 44, 71 splits, second highest all-time in a playoff series points per game since the merger. Put Butler in your top 10s if you value winning. Jimmy Butler is the best shooting guard in the league? Yeah, he's the best shooting guard in the league. Best shooting guard in the league. Him and Booker are actually pretty close. I'd have Jimmy Butler and then like Devin Booker right here. If you want to also talk about a playoff riser, Devin Booker needs his respect too. I think Devin Booker's averaging, 34 3 points a game in this playoff series? That boy Devin Booker's tough. I got them right next to each other. Mitchell just fell on my list. This playoff Donovan stuff doesn't exist anymore. Mitchell fell on my list. He's still top 15, top 20 though, but I can't have Mitchell above Booker or Butler anymore. But yeah, best shooting guard in the league, yeah. Yo, Clay low-key still looks like a top 5 shooting guard in the league too. He might not be 5. He might be like 6 or 7 now. I got to think about my list. But Clay, what I've been seeing Clay this series, Clay was awesome last night. But we're going to get to the Warriors later. Because I got some smoke for Giannis. I think I think if you're still in the chat, I think I texted you like the other day, like, yo, if Giannis loses, I'm going to start pushing narratives. I texted somebody that. Like, if Giannis loses, I'm going to start pushing narratives. I don't know if it was you or one of my other group chats. I text that to somebody. I said, if Giannis loses, I'm going to start pushing narratives against him. It's going to be a bad day for Giannis. I got the smoke for him. And he lost. So I got – put your seatbelts on, boys. It's going to be a little rocky if you're a Giannis fan. You're going to have to sit in your seat because I got the smoke for him. Awkward water break as we have no commercials. So I don't know if you guys saw the post-game interview from Giannis following the loss to Miami. Giannis, he said, I think he was asked if this season was a failure. I forgot the exact question, but it was some along the lines of, yo, Giannis, you think the season was a failure, bro? And, Giannis was over here like, the season, how is the season not a failure? The season was not a failure. See, teams have ups and downs. Did Jordan fail? Jordan played 15 years. Jordan only won 6 championships. 6 out of the 15, that's like what, 9 years? We didn't win a championship. So he was basically capping, saying like the season not a failure because just because you don't win every year doesn't mean the season's a failure. Because that would be like saying Jordan, who only won a championship 6 out of his 15 years, failed 9 other times. Sometimes, if you're the Orlando Magic and you're projected to win 25 games, you're not a failure. You met expectations. Giannis, this season was a failure. I don't know why Giannis is tripping. Giannis is dodging, bro. Giannis said the season's not a failure. Giannis said this season's not a failure. Of course it's a failure, dude. Of course it's a failure. By textbook definition, this season from you guys was a failure. You did not meet expectations. Let me run you down this, Let me run you down this, bro. Let me tell you, Giannis, you were the best player in the world. You are the best player in the world with 2 more all-league defenders by your side. And all I heard last summer was that if you had Chris Middleton by your side, you would have beat Boston and eventually gone to the finals to try to repeat. He's back now. He was back now, and he was balling. You were also the number 1 seed, not just the East, but the entire association. Every last coin, penny, dollar in Vegas was spent on you winning the series. And many people have you representing the East. Many people, decent amount of people, have you winning the chip. Not just people have you representing the East. A lot of people had you win the chip. And you're getting gentlemen swept by the 8th seed that just lost a play-in game prior. Yes, this season was 1,000% failure. You failed to meet expectations. What is Giannis tripping about? What is Giannis saying? Of course this season was a failure. Of course it was. Talking about, you telling me every season of... Yes, it was. Dude, if you fail to meet expectations, is that season a failure? Yes. You were one of the betting odds favorites to win the championship. You get gentlemen swept in the first round by the 8th seed that lost a play-in game the week prior. A team that does not have a consensus top 10 player, and you lost. A team that's battled injuries, and you lost. This season was a failure. We're talking about, this season not failure. Bro, what are you saying in this interview, bro? So a lot of people defending Giannis on Twitter, talking about this is great perspective from somebody who plays. Man, miss me with that, bro. I ain't giving Giannis no. Giannis don't get no cookie. He don't get no Scoobies. You don't get no Scooby-Doo snacks post game. He failed. You don't get a participation trophy. You failed, bro. What are you talking about, bro? You want a sucker? You failed, bro. You failed to meet expectations. You played a Miami Heat team that lost a play-in game the week prior, 8th seed. You had home court. You had Middleton back. You got 2 all-league defenders. You're the best player in the world. The Heat are severely injured, and you lose in 5. Yes, this was a failure. A lot of people had you winning the finals. Of course it was a failure. More on Giannis. I'm going to keep rolling on Giannis, bro. It's going to look slow for Giannis right here. I don't even think Giannis is the best player in the world. What makes what makes a player best player in the world? I don't think Giannis is the best player in the world. Seriously. Let's talk about it for a second, guys. Let's talk about it. Is Giannis really the best player in the world? Is he? What makes a player? Let me ask you, what makes a player the best player in the world? Playoff translation, I think, is number 1. I give him all the credit in the world for that 2021 ring. But his career does not start and end in 2021. There are 4 other years in that postseason. There are 4 other years he was in the postseason when you could argue that he was the best player in the world. And in those series, Giannis, with championship expectations, the best player in the world, is getting outplayed by his opponent more often than not. Let's go down it. 2019, he was the MVP, the number 1 seed in the East. He's up 2-0 in the East Finals and loses 4 straight. His limitations absolutely show. 2020, now we're in the bubble. He's now a 2-time MVP. He gets gentleman swept by a 5 seed, and the Bucks didn't win a game until game 4. We give him credit for 2021, but now we're on to 2022. He was bad in game 7. Yes, he didn't have Middleton, but he was bad in game 7. Series, yes, he didn't have Middleton, but that series still went to 7 games, and he was bad in game 7. And with last night, at this point, he is the clear consensus best player in the world. And he gets gentleman swept by an 8 seed that lost a play-in game prior, and the only game the Bucks won was without him. So in those 4 postseasons that I just told you about, sorry. So I just brought you down through 4 seasons where Giannis got outplayed, where Giannis lost. I just brought you through 4 seasons where Giannis got outplayed in a series loss. In those regular seasons, Giannis is averaging 30 a game, winning MVPs. But in those 4 series, in those 4 losing series, he's averaging 25 a game with clear efficiency droppings. And in those series, in those losing series, in the elimination, and in those eliminating games in those series, Giannis in the 4th quarter is averaging 3.25 points a game on 18.5% from the field. In an elimination game, 4th quarter. That's not the best player in the world. That's not. Let me ask you also, should the best player in the world in elimination games average 3 points in the 4th quarter? Okay. If you still think the best player in the world should average 3 points a game in 4th quarters in elimination games, okay. That's on you, bro. That's on you. Warriors aren't contenders, looking real cute little dude. All right, we're going to talk about it now. I'm not dodging anymore. We're talking about it. We're going to talk about it. I did make a TikTok. I think it was early March. I said Warriors aren't contenders. I mean, at that point, I think they only had 7 road wins. Wiggins was MIA because of his personal issues. They was playing bad on the road. And I think the win in Sacramento makes me look a little silly. I think I got to officially take back my take. I'm not deleting the TikTok. I don't delete TikToks because I don't take back takes. I don't take back takes on TikTok. Once it's posted, it's there. You saw it. You screenshotted it too. So I know I ain't deleting it. Warriors look like contenders last night. I hate when I look wrong, bro. Part of me was I went against my own judgment on that take too, because usually I am a full believer in smart organizations with Hall of Fame level players just figuring out in the postseason. But, part of me with Golden State hate, I really thought this was the time. Part of me wants to also bury the Golden State dynasty, so I quickly jumped the gun when I saw some of them drowning. When I saw when I saw a boat getting overrun by water. But man, they did it. Now they still got to win though. Hey. They ain't won the series yet. They basically won the series though, because I'm gonna get into it. They basically won the series, but man, they look like contenders last night. Yo, what up, Chris? Hey, shout out to Chris, man. He said Cavs looked like a joke last night. Yeah, we already talked about it, man. I'm so disappointed in the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you want to hear what I got to say about the Cavs, once the stream gets published, you can pull it back up at the beginning. I'm just disappointed in the Cavs, man. We all love. We talk about the Cavs all the time, Chris. and getting that from Cleveland was disappointing. But now the Warriors-Kings. The Warriors won 3 straight from being down 2-0, lost the first 2 in Sacramento, won 3 straight. They finally won a decisive road game. Took them long enough against an actual team, not against like a Houston. They actually won a real road game. They look good. And now with them playing this great at home and with the ability to show that they can win on the road, this series is over. The Warriors got it over the Kings. This series is over. I think maybe psychologically or something, the Kings, this series is over. The Warriors know it. I mean, you're watching Klay Thompson, Curry, Draymond celebrate, talking post games. You see them in their faces, seeing their body language. The Warriors know the series is over. The Warriors know it's over. The Warriors know winning in Sacramento won them the series. I mean, I said on Tuesday, like, yo, if the Warriors win, it was an elimination game, but if the Warriors did win in Sacramento, it was basically an elimination game because they would have game 6 in Golden State, and that's exactly what they have. Hey, no shame for Sacramento, though. Nothing to be ashamed about. It was a great season for them, man. Great season for the franchise. First postseason in 14 years. Since I've watched basketball, I know I'm young, but since I've watched the basketball, like fully invested myself in watching basketball, I've never seen a Sacramento King playoff game. First postseason in 14 years, man. That's something for the fans, something for the city and for the culture. Lighting the beam was huge for them. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Fox was playing hurt. Fox is playing hurt. He's got a fractured finger. Fox is out here playing hurt. Fox was bad. Fox was probably the biggest reason why they lost. But he was playing hurt. Fox could have easily quit on the Kings and not played a single second of basketball for the rest of the year. But instead, he said, no, I want to win for my team, for the city. I want the beam to be lit. We have a chance to do something here. I'm not going to let this go. Nothing to be ashamed of for the Kings, but the Warriors got this series now. We knew it was going to be a struggle for the Kings to win in Golden State. I didn't expect the Kings to win in Golden State because I had this going 7. I just had Sacramento winning all 4 games in Sacramento. So all they had to do was just defend their home court. But now GS has 3 wins in a row. One of them's on the road, plus that home crowd. Oh, they got this. I said Warriors in 7 at the start of the series for 2 reasons. If you go on my TikTok, I said Warriors in 7 at the start of the series because of 2 reasons. Those 2 reasons being anything they can get, 1, anything that they can get from Wiggins is a plus. And 2, the experience. What did we see in the fourth quarter, final minutes of last night? Anything they can get from Wiggins is a plus. Andrew Wiggins hits a big jumper to go up 2 possessions under a minute. And for the experience, the Kings were horrible down the stretch. In these last couple games, game 3, 4, and 5, they've been horrible down the stretch. Turning the ball over, missing big-time shots, not knowing exactly what to do, not playing their brand of basketball. They've been horrible down the stretch. And that's just because they're young. They look like a young team outside of Harrison Barnes, Fox and all them. They look like a young team. The experience gap is huge in the fourth quarter. The experience gap in game 1 and 2, it didn't look like a factor. The Kings were actually the team that was clutch. The Kings were hitting the big-time shots in the first 2 games. They had all the confidence. But they're a little rattled now. Golden State's applying the pressure. They won game 3 without Draymond. They thought that was a gimme game for them. They blew it. I said on the pod, after they lost game 3, I said they blew it. That was a chance for them to go up 3-0 with 4 games remaining to get 1 game. And 2 of them were in Sacramento. They blew it. That psychologically messed with them, losing without Draymond. Now they just lost 3 games straight. I'm rooting for Sacramento. Trust me, I'm going to be a huge Sacramento fan tomorrow when they play. Because I'd rather the Lakers play Sacramento in the next round. But I'm a little scared of Golden State. I can't lie, I'm a little scared. Team that's been there before, can shoot. Sacramento can shoot, but they ain't been there before. So I give them the Lakers the edge over them. But still rooting for them, but I think the series is over. All right. I was by myself, held my own for an hour. I think I'm gonna start doing a lot more by myself streams. Maybe like once a week. I'm gonna try to do a solo pod. I think I said that on a pod like 3 weeks ago that I was gonna do like Monday shows solo and Friday shows with people. I just haven't done it yet. But I think going forward, I kind of like doing one solo pod a week and one big panel on like Friday. I think Friday I might do a big panels on then Mondays. I'm going to start doing solo pods. But I appreciate you guys for tapping in. We had a pretty active chat today, a pretty active viewership. A lot of guys contributing. I like when the chat interacts with my stream. We can start pulling up, start doing a little chat, more chat interactions. But I appreciate you guys for tapping in, man. Solo pod. We're in and out in an hour. That's all you need is an hour of me talking because I'd probably drive you crazy 30 more minutes of me talking. But I appreciate you guys tuning in for the 32nd episode of Some Casual Takes, a podcast hosted by me, Stephen Pepper. So I know I've been moving the day. I didn't do a Monday show. I did on Tuesday instead. I'm not doing a Friday show. I did on Thursday instead. So you're probably like, yo, when are these shows coming out? Monday. Should do a show Monday. Monday, I don't know what time because now that I guaranteed I'm gonna start doing Monday solo shows, I can start doing Mondays at like in between classes. I don't know, but if I might just turn on notifications. Turn on notifications. Monday. If I don't have huge guests on, if I have guests, the show's gonna be like 4:35. But if I do it solo, I'm probably gonna do it at like 1:00. But we'll see. That all depends on who wants to join my pod because we have a lot of people who actually are hitting me up and want to join the pod. A lot of creators, dudes, people are DMing me on TikTok saying they want to come on. But I'm gonna see you guys. Just turn on post notifications. Just check your phone anytime between Monday at 1 through 4:30 for a fire up for a pod. You'll get a pod. We're going to talk about what happens throughout from Friday through Sunday for the NBA playoffs. Hopefully the Lakers win. If the Lakers are terrible, I might have to do an emergency pod. If the Lakers blow this game, I might have to do an emergency pod. But that's about it, though. Peace, guys.